Hello guys, this is your favorite Wiggly Willy, and this is Path of Exile. Using the fact that a couple of days ago, a new Path of Exile League started. It was actually last Friday. So like the 7th of June, I decided to return to Path of Exile again, complete the game again, and in the meantime, check the changes made with the new league, which this time is called Legion. To people who are not acquainted with the game, it's basically a hack and slash action RPG with a shitload of skills to use in a myriad of ways. You'll see that in a couple of minutes anyway. So, a league in Path of Exile is a special sort of event that comes with new changes, new content, some items also, etc, etc. And it usually lasts 3 months. For people who don't wanna play that, they can also play the standard game. Path of Exile also has a hardcore mode. So basically, if you die, you're dropped to standard. And they have a solo self-found mode. Basically means that you cannot trade with other players. It's for those people who would want to, make a challenge for themselves, but the game enables them that. It's very nice. So, I started to play Legion. I played it like for 8 hours. In the meantime, I died while fighting one of the bosses, and I thought like, ah shit, this is futile. A new league, new challenges, and I'm already burned when it comes to going again through the content because I'm connected with the game for a couple of years now. Each year I play it because it's like almost annually. I concentrate on some different part of the content. Sometimes I just do it for the plot, sometimes for some mid-end game content because I never reached the end game content. And I also tried it with my friends, and since it's, well, basically a hack and slash, they just went through it, and some of them played a bit longer, some of them dropped somewhere in the meantime. And I'm making this particular series for those people who are not that much into Russian games like this, but shit. To be frank, I'm gonna make a playthrough concentrating on the plot of the game. Actually has a plot, I think it's very nice. I like the lore in this game, and I want to share this experience with you and to you. Without any further ado, let's start. We're gonna be playing Legion, So I'll do some challenges. Basically, the game is about an exile, a person who has been sentenced to exile for a specific crime. Each of these people representing a different archetype has done something wrong, and they've been sentenced by the Inquisition and the Templars to exile on an island named Rayclast. They've all been living in a place called Orayoth, so this is like their trial, and I'm gonna play. I'm gonna show you each one of them for a brief moment, so you can also see what's the background.
Why do the keen of mind seek to satiate their curiosity in darkness and depravity? Innocence is our father, Ariath is our mother. When a daughter strays from the light, she makes herself an orphan. Learn well the lessons that Rayclast will teach you, witch. It is your only hope of finding your way home.
This is actually as a voice of the person given the sentence. It's High Templar Dominus. He's quite an important person. He was more important previously. Now he's just important. So, we have a witch. That's one of the possibilities.
You were born to be swift and strong. What did you do with your gifts, duelist? You squandered them on self-indulgence. Sin has led you here, your path inked in the blood of gratuitous murder. You have betrayed the grand arena. Now Rayclast shall be your audience and your foe.
A side note also. Previously, like probably a couple of years ago, the characters themselves, during character creation, were telling why they have been sentenced to exile and for what. The feels are really strong when I see how the game changed through all these years.
Swift and silent, you stole the bounty of others. A crow that plunders our crops. A stray dog that slaughters our sheep. Ariath is a land of men, not animals. Think on that, Ranger, when Rayclast shows you how to truly live like an animal.
Sounds dangerous.
Do you think you are savage enough to face the land of the damned, Marauder? We offered you truth, yet still you clasped your superstitious lies. We offered you service, yet you wasted your strength in defiance. Rayclast offers you something else. An education in true savagery.
Badass.
You were born with quickness of body and sharpness of mind. How have you paid for these gifts? With innocent blood. Yours is a predatory profession, the business of butchery. You have stolen many a life to fill your purse. Now you will earn your redemption in Rayclast. You swore sinew and soul to serve God and the Order of the Templar. For years you built a life upon faith, only to smite it asunder with one sinful blow. And is that not the greatest folly of all? To lose faith when it's all you have left? You were once the chosen of God, a Templar. You are now the chosen of Rayclast, an exile.
And the Templar will be our actual choice for this game. Ah, so we are supposed to reach Rayclast, but something happened. We're stranded on the beach, and it doesn't look good.
You and I, we're the only ones that made it to shore. Alive, anyway. Looks like you found something you can defend yourself with. Good. This place is crawling with criminals. There's smoke rising just east of here. Could be worth checking if there's...
Even death gives no solace in this tortured land.
So, like the first hint that there's something wrong with this place. That there's a certain taint that's eaten it very, very thoroughly. So, got some feedback that we should check a place nearby where maybe some other people can be found. Whether they friendly or not, we shall see. As I already mentioned, I played this game a lot, so some things will happen a bit differently from like a typical clean playthrough, because the fact that I already played it in different leagues will manifest itself at a couple of points. So the basic idea behind the game that you've got equipment with gem slots. These gems can work together if they are linked. That's why now our glacial hammer is supported by elemental proliferation. We've got a lot of drowned dead, so cheers to all the people watching my Witcher playthrough. We've got yet another game in which we fight the drowned dead. Yeah, they're not very bright, they're dead, and they only think about killing.
It would seem my god has no need for my company just yet.
So, we might have a bigger purpose here, huh? For now, we'll be collecting all of the stuff just to have something for a couple of initial dates. We've got Hillock here, a big guy impaled with a sword, probably undead. Also, hit with a couple of arrows. When he reaches half of his health, he decides to hit us with the weapon that was previously in him. That's badass. Well, he was no match for us. And we reached a camp. It's called Lion's Watch. Here, letters of exile.
You have transgressed against your God and your fellow man. You have been a willing vessel for the following sins. Theosophical vanity. 3 counts of upholding and promoting heretical beliefs. Practicing medicine without qualification. God has charged me with your redemption.
Here you can find
You are hereby exiled to Exile,
some
where it is
background
hoped you shall come to repent your
on
sins and make your
many
peace
people
with
who
your
have
beloved
been
Father.
sentenced to exile. And some of them we even meet during our adventure.
Joy of Kimby, you have transgressed against your God and your fellow man. You have been a willing vessel for the following sins. Civil envy.
All
1 count of harboring
done
with
by
the
High
sentenced
Templar
exile.
Dominus.
Adri of Dayton, you have Maitland of Theopolis. You have Olin of Theopolis. Ender of Rumsey.
You see, there is quite a lot of people
of
here.
Theopolis. You have transgressed against your God.
Creighton
and your
of
fellow man.
Theopolis, remember
You
this
have been a
name?
willing vessel for the following sins. Unlawful avarice. 2 counts of grand larceny of church property. 7 counts of grand larceny of private property. 9 counts of extortion through threat of mortal harm.
Not a nice
4
guy,
counts of
hey?
armed robbery. Pecuniary sloth. Being unwilling to obtain an occupation of value to society.
He's got
Enticing
quite
citizens into conduct of a wanton and depraved
quite a
nature.
thing for
Civil
committing
envy.
crimes.
2 counts of blackmailing a church official. 8 counts of attempting to corrupt
And we
a
could
member
go
of the
on
Legion.
and on.
2 counts of inciting the public to riotous behavior. Hillock of Slow, you have transgressed against your God and your fellow
That's
man.
the guy
You have been a
we
willing
just
vessel for the
annihilate.
following sins. Mortal wrath. 6 counts of common homicide. 1 count of infanticide.
Oh,
2 counts of homicide with post-mortem desecration. Unlawful avarice. 12 counts of extortion through threat of mortal harm. 7 counts of armed larceny. 2 counts of armed larceny resulting in mortal harm. Unsolicited lust. 4 counts of rape.
quite a
2 counts of
personality.
attempted rape. Mortal wrath. 1 count of rape resulting in mortality. God has charged me with your redemption. You are hereby exiled to Reclast, where it is hoped you shall come to repent your sins and make your peace with your beloved Father.
And we could go on and on. Of course it's limited, but it's a very nice touch.
I know you, the blasphemer. That's what my father called you. God saw fit to drown my father and everyone else I ever loved. I wonder what fate he has in store for you. I'm Nessa, and I suppose I should thank you for ridding us of Hillock, that putrid giant you felled out there. You know, back in Oriath, I was taught that God loved me. He has a funny way of showing his love, doesn't he, Templar? Lion's Watch isn't much, but it's ours. We could use you here, while you live. But should you wish to venture out, do just one thing for me. Out on the coast, amongst the wrecks, there must be a ship's medicine chest. I have many to care for, and there's only so much I can do with herbs and seawater.
So, we got our first quest. we need to find some supplies.
Take care.
A tyrannical Templar to be tested and tempered in the Straits of Rayclast.
That's the first line of the poem I'm writing about you, Exile. Easy, mate. You could damn a bloke with a look
Ha!
like that.
Nice
The
one.
name's Bestel, captain of the good ship Merry Gull. Alas, my Merry Gull is gone. My crew is gone. But my wits remain, after a fashion. There's an island, a hop, skip and a wade offshore of the terraces. That's where my Merry Gull ran aground. Watched the locals spit roast the ship's doctor, but his medicine chest might still be there, amongst the splinters and bones. It'd have everything Nessa might need. Dr. Shaky Hands Opton was lousy with a scalpel and even worse with a saw, but he knew his apothecary. Explains the shaky hands, if you ask me.
And as we meet new people and new topics are appearing, we can get more knowledge from the non-playable characters.
Poor Nessa. Not even a mother herself, and yet she cares for us all. And what a sickly, pathetic brood we are. May she live to have her own family, a real family. If anyone deserves that, Nessa does. Errol, the Merry Gull's cook, washed up on the rocks over yonder. Dead as a doornail he was, buried him myself. Then, a few days later, I see him on the beach. A little worse for wear, but upright, shuffling about. A land full of disturbing surprises, this Rayclast.
So it seems the dead are not really keen on staying in the ground.
Fine work with Hillock. Where'd you learn to fight like that? No, forget I asked. We exiles have no history. Dominus took it from us when he had his blackguards dump us in the water out there. Here, got something for you. Should help you kill a few more of those undead bastards. No, don't bother thanking me. The way I figure it, the longer we fighters live, the longer everyone lives.
So it seems that the actual way of getting to the beach is being thrown off the ship by the guards working on it, and if you survive and swim towards Rayclast, hell, you might try. But if you don't, bye bye! We've got some skills here. Not really making any difference at this point. But now we've got a whole lot of topics to talk about.
Hello. Tarklee's as good a man as you can find on this god-forsaken coast. He has some wrongs to right, no doubt. What they are, I've never asked, and I never will. If not for Tarklee, we'd all be dead.
So, he's kind of a leader here.
The Merry Gull ran aground on the tidal island trying to escape from pirates. As tends to happen here in Rayclast, her crew met a far worse fate. Cannibals. Tarklee pulled Bestel from some hideaway in the wreckage. The ship's only survivor. Whether the ordeal fractured his mind or whether it was just in his nature all along, it's clear that Bestel sails a different course to the rest of us. Take care.
Tarklee rescued from the waves. A stricken Bestel, fate's slave.
There's even an infant
Crew
here.
and broken bark. Bestel lives, thanks to Tarklee.
Oh,
Still alive, are we? Founded by Marseilles Lioneye as a supply station for his campaigns against the Karui. In its day, Lioneye's watch could be defended by just a small garrison of well-armed legionnaires. What have I got? A handful of starving criminals with driftwood clubs and rusted hatchets.
history is gonna be very important in the plot. Because, well, now at least I can finish my thought. History is very important in the plot because, as you can see, dead people don't really like to stay in the ground, and most of the history is about dead people.
The Eternal Empire has some right nasty leftovers. Whether it's something in the air or in the water, no one stays dead in Rayclast. Not the first time. It can take a little while, but sooner or later corpses wake up and go looking for breakfast. That hat Bestel wears? Saw him pluck it from the real captain's head right before the cannibals barbecued the poor bastard. Waste not, want not, I suppose. Yes, Bestel's got a gift for telling tales, but I'd never call him a liar. The truth's always in there. You just have to listen for it. Nessa's the one keeps the rest of us from losing our minds. To be honest, when she first arrived, I didn't think she'd survive more than a day. 2 at most. She's been proving me wrong every dawn since. Heard a bard once sing that the fairest flowers bloom in the foulest places. He was bloody well right.
Well, even Dandelion wouldn't put it together better.
The Exile passed through Lion Eye's watch, and many more that simply pass on. Those letters are my way of keeping track, of remembering. Oriath might want to forget us all, but I'll be damned if I will.
Okay,
Stay sharp out there.
now,
Little help I can offer is yours.
let's get rid of the shit we collected. You see, the slots have different colors. You have red, blue, and green. They represent different statistics the games are aligned with. So, if you have a dexterity-based game, it's gonna be green. Red is strength, and blue is intelligence. And just to make our lives better, we're gonna use the collected scrolls to trade them for freezing pulse. There is no money in the game. You collect different currency items. So for example, from selling some garbage you get transmuted charts. If you have enough of them, you get a transmutation orb, which you can use for some crafting. We're gonna double ourselves with magic. I mentioned that there are a lot of skills and combinations and etc. to play the game. Well, yeah, you can get the idea, right? Each one of the circle represents a class you can play. So basically, all of the classes can be developed the same way, but they have different starting points, so they are better aligned to some stuff than others. You've got normal classes, like the Witch, the Marauder, and the Ranger, who are like concentrated on one attribute. So the Ranger is for dexterity, the Witch is for intelligence, and the Marauder is for strength. You've got also hybrid classes, so the Templar, it's intelligence and strength. You've got a Shadow, so it's dexterity and intelligence. And here you've got a Duelist, strength and dexterity. In the middle you have a Cyan, which is unlocked during your first playthrough. You go through the whole plot. And he's a jack of all trades, so she has a bit of everyone's additional skills. But if you're good in everything, you can't be really, you know, a master in anything specific, so well, the choice is yours. We're gonna go with damage and mana for now.
What in God's name is that smell?
Yeah, due to the fact that there's like a lot of dead people, you get the idea what kind of a smell it is. We've got cannibals here who would gladly feast on our body. Let's try to make it a little bit more difficult for them. If you're a spellcaster, at least in the beginning, mana might be a problem a bit. The regeneration is quite slow. And it basically works on a set percentage value, so you don't have a flat number of regenerated mana points. You always have a percentage of your total mana regenerated per second. So you improve your mana regeneration, and the more mana you have, the better the regeneration gets. On the other hand, you have a set amount of life points, hit points, that you get if you have some regeneration. I don't. But you can also have regeneration based on a percent. And it's very nice. It also scales, so scaling is fun. When you have those gems in your items, besides the fact you can use them, you can also level them. You don't actually need to use a gem to level it up. It's just enough if it's in your equipment. For now, we're not gonna play in the Legion related content. So those mana lips will stay untouched. The cannibals have a lot of fires. There are crabs and undead. The game is not very forgiving. Death is a sure thing if you forget about moving, if you forget about your defense mechanism, if you already have them. You just have to be careful. Let me do that a bit later. Apart from having a big life pool, it's also very important to maximize your resistances. You've got fire damage, cold damage, lightning damage, and chaos damage. It's like poison and some nasty bad stuff. Yeah, so we killed someone more important. He was yellow, so he was more difficult. He had a better drop, and we did a-okay. Since we're using spells, we now have 23 damages per second. Let's put this in a wand. It didn't change. I don't know why. Okay, because this increased our elemental damage, which we are using, and this increases our spell damage, which we are also using. Okay. We've got a weathered carving here, and since there are no enemies, we might as well use our point. Let's go for the damage.
Khan's canoe struck this sand with the force of destiny. At his beck, the greatest war host in Karui history tamed the wild sea, their canoes coupling with the land one by one. Lion-eyed gemlings met us with shining metal and bold words. Hyri's arrows withered their pride. Khan's axis silenced their despair. Marseilles Lion-Eye fought bravely to the last. Calm honored him with a place on his belt. Calm has shown Rayclast our Karui strength. Calm will teach Rayclast the Karui way.
So the weathered carving shows the history of the Karui invasion to Rayclast. Calm and his sister Hiri were, as it seems, part of an invasion force. Marseilles Lion-Eye was one of the people responsible for the defense, and well, it didn't work. Okay, we've got another wand. Let's stop using the shield. We'll go for 2 wands. And as you can see, this spell damage increase works for us. Here you see we have a waypoint, the way for quick traveling through Rayclast, and it's accessible the moment you step on it. Let's make a circle around this place to make sure that we didn't miss anything. What? I tried to catch a screwdriver falling from my desk, work, and I catch the mouse. So, we reached the waypoint. Waypoints are usually placed in such a way that they're close to some specific entry points or exit. In this case, this waypoint is very close to a route to mudflats and to the tidal island. We're supposed to travel to the tidal island to find the medicine chest. So, let's go. Okay. We're on the tidal island. And we leveled up. That's very nice. Let's keep improving our damage. Every element has a specific additional effect that it can trigger. When you're using ice, you can slow your enemies, or you can even chill them to the point that they are frozen and cannot move. When you're using fire, you can ignite them so it's damage over time. And when you shock them, well, in general, they are more vulnerable to damage.
Calm has removed the eternal stain from this coast. The Empire's citizens decorate our meeting houses with their heads. Our warriors build homes for our families. Our families till the earth, fish the waters, fill the air with song. The Karui Way is yet a seedling here, but it grows, gains in pride and power every day. Calm has kept his promise. The time of the Karui has come.
So, the invasion is over. The Eternal Empire, we're yet to get knowledge of that name, has been conquered, and all seems to be okay. So we have our mini boss here, Pale Rake. It's a bit problematic that we're using ice baby, because Well, he doesn't have immunity for it. It's too early to introduce, you know, monsters immune to your damage. But he's quite annoying. We've got the medicine chest and a portal scroll. We're missing shoes, so we'll take these shoes. We're gonna pick up also the yellow item. Yellow means it's rare. If it's white, it's like vanilla. When it's blue, it's magical. And you have to identify it to see what kind of an effect is on it. Unfortunately, there's no way to sort items in your equipment, so you have to do it manually. This is what's left of the ship. We've got an item with a green border. It means that it's a bit more important to us than a normal item. And later I'm gonna explain to you why. We're using the default filter available in the game, because since it's a hack and slash and we kill a lot of stuff, then we also get a lot of thingies. So basically open options, go to the UI and pick a filter from here. It's gonna show you which items are more interesting to be picked up than others. So, we filled almost all of the slots. We are still missing an amulet. Okay, this place is cleared. We can go back to Lionel's Watch and finish our quest. First I'm gonna talk to Tarkly to sell some items. So, if an item has 3 slots with different colors, we get a chromatic orb. It's gonna prove useful later when we will need to change the colors of the items we have. Wow. You get different currency depending on if the item is identified or not. Usually I advise identifying them.
Though they might look like you or I, behind those eyes there's nothing but darkness and hunger. Whatever's got inside those folks is not even close to being human.
So they might not be dead,
Stay sharp
but they're certainly broken and dangerous.
I'd almost stopped believing in miracles. This medicine chest. It's greater than the serums and salves it holds. It tells us that we can do more in Rayclass than merely suffer. I've not much to offer in return, but please, take something and thanks for what you've done.
It basically means that we gave them hope. That being in Rayclass doesn't mean you have to be the victim. You can make a change. Let's pick Arcane Search.
Yes?
Let's sell these potions. If we sell 3 of the same type, we get a higher tier, at least for now. Later it works a bit differently, but later is gonna be later. Yeah. We're gonna try to connect these two, but first we need a specific item.
So, you managed to salvage Shaky Hand's druggery. Nicely done. Nessa will put it to good use. More than that benumbed quack Optin ever did.
We got acknowledged.
Got a job for you, if you're willing. There's a pool near the mudflats needs investigating. You'll smell it before you see it. Stinks like a carcass in high summer, but that's not the worst of it. Dead birds walking. Animals don't rise up again the same as people do here. So if they aren't raising themselves, what's doing it for them? The answer's in that fetid pool. Clear the place out and kill whatever's raising those rowers. We've got enough living dead to contend with already. That medicine chest you found, it'll do more than you might think. The medicine will run out, it always does, but Nessa won't. Give that girl a sliver of hope and she'll carry it to the end of the
That's
world.
what I said.
Farewell.
Let's use the waypoint and let's get back to the coast. Next up, mudflats. So we are supposed to clear the fetid pool. We already see some dead rising. Some of them more willing to rise, some of them less. Have some points of interest on the minimap. We're gonna check them out a bit later. It requires us to check the Roa nest. We don't want to get on the bad side of the birds just yet.
The path becomes clearer with each bloody step.
In a place like Rayclass, a sense of importance is very important. That sounded derpish. What do we have here? Here is the fetid pool. Okay. And damage again. Or do we want to clear it a bit more? Let's clear it a bit more first. Maybe we will learn something about this place. If we stay vigilant, the enemies don't pose any threat. that basically requires us to shoot them from afar and keep an eye on our mana and health points. So, 3 cliffs are required and there are 3 markers in 3 row nests. Coincidence? Previously, the game wanted us to go back to Lionel's watch and talk to Tarky concerning how to
Is spent.
go through the cave. Now it's a bit easier, or maybe not easier, but just straightforward. Tells us to find a way here immediately. Positioning in case of some skills is very important if you want to maximize your clearance speed. I'm not really focused on that too much, but sometimes it makes a difference. So, if we touch the nest, the rows become a bit agitated. So, now we need to get these 2 more, and this place will be available. This armor is better than this one, but we have 2 blue slots, which are connected. These keep work together now, and Arcane Search increases damage, cast speed, and mana regeneration while it's active. Now it's triggered because I used the required amount of mana from my skills, and it increases our sustaining capabilities. More or less every 3 shots, it triggers. If we balance our gems properly, It will probably trigger even after every shot.
My mana is spent.
As you can see, the undead are really restless. And we have another piece of lore here.
Black storms descend on us from the north. Unnatural tempests of rage and hatred, lashing our backs, tearing at our houses. The rain is shot with shadow. It withers our crops, sickens our livestock. And the wind carries with it a restless spirit that breeds melancholy and madness. A spirit that creeps through our dreams, weaves tales of misdeed around our resting minds. We try not to listen. We try to remember ourselves. Some of us forget. Brothers fight. Brothers die. Calm punishes those that quarrel, that steal, that murder. Yet still the nightmares goad us into malefaction. We Kardui are banished from sleep.
So, at first it was a-okay, but the corruption started surfacing also within the Karui. The submerged passage is now open, but first we will see what made the Roa rise from the dead. Let's check the fetid pool. And another point in damage. This side quest requires us to clear the whole place from all monsters. So we have to be careful. If a node has frame or is bigger, it means that it's better than the rest. We got some bone roas here. Ah, we found a necromancer. Cadavers the Defiler. They usually have fancy names like this. Well, Cadavers was no match for us also. This one has more spell damage, so we're gonna switch. 38. So it was a good trade. Finally, we have a more suitable ring. This one increases our mana, and as I mentioned before, if we have more mana, it regenerates faster. As you can see, there's one monster left. We did the clearing quite nicely, so he should be here. And the place is clear. If an item is connected with a certain attribute, it also provides a specific kind of defense. So, the strength-based item provides armor. If it's intelligence, it gives you shield. And if it's dexterity, then it's evasion. Each of them works a bit differently, so you have to be careful what you're wearing.
While we live, we are blessed.
Now that you've drained that passage, best I warn you about something. I was running down a wounded rower one night's eve when I glimpsed something in that waterlogged cavern. Looked a bit like a sand spitter, only the size of a bloody ox. I reckon it's nesting down in those flooded depths somewhere. If you're going that way, then do us a favor. Spill the old shield crab's guts before it gets hungry and comes looking for us.
So, there is a cave there, in which a monster is stationed.
A necromancer. Just the one, was it? Guess the bastard got a bit lonely, decided to make himself some pets. Well, good to see you don't mind getting your hands good and filthy. Here, to mark a dirty job well done.
Well, he didn't look really friendly. We got ourselves a book of regret.
Traveled on the Emperor's Road via Prisoner's Gate. Had to skirt around Axiom Prison. That's the holdfast of Brutus the Warden. Bloody treacherous trip it was. Worth it? There's forest inland. Game, berries, fruit. More food than we can scrounge here. But most here wouldn't survive the journey. Would be a damn sight easier if we could pass through the prison. Tell you what. You carve us a path up the coast. Find us a way past or through Brutus. And you'll have more than a few lives owing to you. Rowers, overgrown chickens with a murderous streak. If you're not careful, they'll talon your guts out and snap them up like big fat worms. That said, be sure to rifle through their nests if you get the chance. Rowers are like magpies, attracted to what shines. Farewell.
Still composing that poem about you, Exile?
Aww.
Roaming, rotting rowers, roosting right here in Rayclast. Squawking, suppurating spooks stalking our sandy seashore. Blighted,
He has a kinky for alliterations, doesn't he?
What? Can't a man have even a little fun in this dismal place? One day we'll be strong enough to make our way inland, build new lives on the carcass of a dead empire. It's why God sent us maggots here, isn't it?
Hello. Don't tell Tarkley, but they're the foulest fowl I've ever tasted. Still, exiles can't be choosers.
No, they can't.
Goodbye.
So, there's a cave here with a monster. And it would be best if we took care of it. And if we leave this place, we have a prison somewhere on our road. With a not very pleasant keeper named Brutus. We've got a different wand. It will enable us to switch back to our old armor. And when it comes to Book of Regrets, it gives us respect points. So, if we feel that we made a bad choice, which is usually the case, while improving our skill tree, respect points let us respect those points. Ha! Ain't that neat? That was quite a party.
My mana is spent.
Let's increase our life. More undead. Maybe you're wondering why I didn't improve my spell cascade yet. Well, I've got a reason for that. Spell cascade requires 17 mana to trigger. Shit, spell cascade. Ah, sorry about that. Arcane search. We don't have spell cascade. If you would improve it, then it would also need more mana to trigger. Now we're using 9 mana, so it's 2 shots. We went lower from 3 shots, so there's no point in upgrading it yet.
Go with God.
Now we killed a monster trapped in an essence. And after disposing of the monster, he took that essence. Essences can be used to upgrade items. There's a lot of ways to improve items. And still, after playing this game all these years, crafting is a bit like magic. We're in the flooded depths. I'm planning to take care of the monster living here. Focusing on damage for now. Starts to pay off now. We are able to one-shot most of the enemies. You have to watch out while checking barrels. They very often explode. It's not as lethal as it used to be, but it's still safer not to open them with your shoe, but with something more remote. Bam bam. And we have here the Dweller of the Deep. That's that. Now we're supposed to go back to Tarkley. All locations are instant, so they expire after a couple of minutes of being empty and reset. If you're doing something on one of those side locations and don't want to have your main location reset, you gotta go fast. And we've got a book of skill. This one gives us a skill point. As we don't need physical damage, let's increase our health. And let's use a waypoint to get back to the submerged passage. We got already 2 points to spend, so let's go with discipline and training to increase our life pool, and back to increasing damage. Now it's 72 per shot. Or maybe not per shot, but per second. It probably considers the time for the projectile to reach the enemy and the fact that we can hit multiple enemies with a projectile. Ah, we've got a yellow van. That's very good. At this point, it might make a really big difference. Let's see. It increases the level of fire gems. Well, that's not gonna help us, but it also increases intelligence, elemental damage, and it gives life on kill. Let's use it instead of this one. Now we do 72.5. Now it's 71. Because of the 3% difference. Well, this time it doesn't make. Wiggly Willy happy. Of course, I would profit from the increased intelligence. But I don't want my statistics to be too high in terms of fulfilling gem requirements, because each upgrade made to a gem requires us to have better statistics, and I don't want to get to a situation in which I improved a game a couple of times, but when I change my equipment and my statistics get lower, I am no longer able to use it. I'm not gonna go back here. Story-wise, nothing important. We left the cave. We're on a ledge leading us to the prison. We have a goat's horn wand. It has less slots, but they're still alrighty. And it has more percentage in spell damage increase, so we're gonna use it. They fall easily. I have a steady progress flow, I might say. I don't have to go back because my flasks are empty, because they overwhelm me with their damage. Well, it's not really supposed to happen yet, right? We just started. We're focused on damage. We've got a waypoint. I might be required to return Lionel's watch
Thanks you, my god.
if we get a lot of fancy items to get rid of them, of course.
The earth of Rayclast rejects the dead. The black spirit of storm and dream now reaches into the ground and raises up our slain imperial foes. It leads the fallen from their graves and drives them to fight us beyond the end, rotted tooth and jagged nail. Our own remembered have joined their cursed ranks. No longer may we give our beloved to the birds, messengers of spirit to the sky, conveyors of flesh to the earth. Calm has commanded us to destroy our remembered with axe and fire. Calm is the bravest of us, willing to bear the ire of the ancestors for the survival of his people.
So, now, the taint has spread even further, and finally, the dead started to rise. Not only the dead soldiers of the Empire, but also the Karui. Okay, we have a totemic enemy there. He's spamming us with spark. Kuduku the false god. Well, one of my friends made a joke a couple of years ago about this totem, and it's basically your mom died on Kodoku, so it's a your mama joke. So it was in her psych. Ha. Yeah, you don't play this game that much, so you. We have another monster trapped in essence. And we've got a unique cap. We've also got some room for it, that's good. Yeah. Now we're at the climb. The climb towards Exile prison. We've got a bunch of deceased warriors. Probably remember the meeting between Kaum and Marcellus Lionel. And even some goatmen are here.
The black spirit infects living flesh and bone. The animals suffered first, their bodies changed, their eyes filled with a hatred of mankind that is beyond instinct. Now it is we who must bend and bow like saplings before the sea-born gale. The firstborn of the kingdom of Kaum greeted us this day. The firstborn of the kingdom of Kaum was buried this day. Even our children are not spared the Black Spirit's touch. What have we done to enrage Rayclast? We look to Kaum. Our king will lay the spirit of this land at peace.
This is the first time the entity of the Black Spirit is mentioned in the Karui writing. So there's a demonic force here which corrupts the land. Since we've got a waypoint, let's share our loot.
help I can offer is yours.
Okay, we can't use the better flasks yet, but we have no use for smaller ones.
Yes? Be well.
Welcome. There's many a way to die in Rayclast. Most of them are mercifully quick. But you get caught alive by the Goatmen, you'll wish by any god you believe in that you hadn't. I've heard some of the more superstitious exiles say there's a deity these Goatmen worship. Abarath, Eater of Agony.
Remember
Sounds
that
like a right
name.
bastard, if you ask me. So if the Goatmen hand you an invitation to go have dinner with the Cloven God, tell them where to stick it. Farewell.
Of course, it's not gonna be a surprise. We're gonna be increasing our damage. Also, our resistances. Resistances are very handy. Not yet, but soon. Annoying fellas, aren't they? Probably noticed that the flasks fill while I am killing monsters and when I visit save location, like Lionel's Batch. There is no honor without sacrifice. Yeah, and that's basically what's left of Lionel. Iron Point the Forsaken. This no more. Denied. Let's move back a bit to use that point. What have we here? Damage. But we're gonna go later for life, so let's put this one. suddenly, White Fawn appears. He uses Goatee Jump. It's super effective. Not. We've got him. Guys, don't worry. And we've got a rare belt here. If this was my first playthrough in this league, which it isn't, but I mentioned before, we would meet Navali here. The lady with the purple name, which we haven't yet talked to in Lionel's Watch. I didn't want to break the flow, talking to her a bit faster.
In this cage, evil claws at the bars and howls for freedom.
Nice welcoming, yeah? Yeah, sorry, she's purple, not her name.
I see a need in you. A need to peer into your future. A need to follow the right path. But your future has already been cast. So open your mind and embrace it. Long ago, my people called me a Hatungo, a wise woman. Now they call me a revenant. But it is not my fate to return to the Mother of Death just yet. For now, I stand with one foot in this world, and the other foot in the realm of the dead. I'm an inquirer of the living, and an interpreter of death. I sense you have questions. For a gift of silver, I will answer them. But you seek more than answers. Riches, power. These I can also provide, in a way. All you have to do is join me. Heed my words, but walk your path. The future is mine to tell, but yours to claim. It is time to fulfill your prophecy.
It's a lady which introduces the prophecy feature. You basically give her a silver coin. She gives you a prophecy connected with an certain event. It might be connected to a specific monster or a specific location, and something additional happens then.
I traveled here through death's darkened halls, walking the paths of the remembered. I am but a memory of the woman I was. A memory treasured and sustained by the Mother of Death.
You see her monkey has like a face made of a big eye. Yeah. Creep factor over 9,000.
I awoke in the halls of death, with the life I once led little more than a dream half remembered. Yama the White, my furry companion, stood before me with the seeing stone he holds now. Both were given a pair of Hinekora's dark knowledge, but each serves a separate purpose. The seeing stone drags me deep into its core, where every instant into eternity is known all at once, like limitless rings on a tree trunk. Yama, like a torch in the mist, guides me back from the stone's infinite visions.
Yeah, so the monkey is basically her guide to all this shit.
Hinekora, my Mother of Death, is not the only god, Exile. The Karui are watched over by many. Namahu lends us fire, which illuminates the path. Tafor gives us the trees and birds that line the path, so that we may enjoy beauty and peace. Tukohama provides us with weapons and knowledge of war, which lets us walk the path safely. And in the final days of this world, Kitava, whose hunger knows no bounds, will take it all away.
Mark her words.
There's a fine line between man and monster. Brutus, the warden of Axiom Prison, he crossed that line long ago. A big lad, and as you know from Hillock, big lads are slow. Hit and run, that's the way to cut them down to size. Unless there's thaumaturgy involved, then forget the hitting bit.
Thaumaturgy is magic involving blood. So some very dangerous experiments must have been made on it.
Oh, I was never there. Brutus, warden of Axiom Prison. The way I heard, albeit from ale-soaked sailors, fear unmanned the great Brutus. Not fear of man, nor beast. Fear of death. Life is like wine, best enjoyed in moderation. I don't envy Brutus's hangover.
The tale of Brutus was a popular one in the schools of Theopolis, taught in the hopes of deterring students from ambitions not condoned by the Templar. Brutus was warden of Axiom Prison, and one of the most feared men in the Eternal Empire. But there the histories end, and the myth begins, with Brutus commissioning a witch to transform him in a mad attempt at immortality. A moment of hubris that didn't end well, for anyone. If it's true, then Brutus has my pity. Some of us pay too dearly for our mistakes. Yet if you insist on learning from your own mistakes, then please, take one of these. You might need it.
So, let's take Freezing Pulse for now. Let's sell the scepter. Let's ID the belt. The belt is better because it's imbued with some additional attributes.
Yes?
And now we're able to buy a spell totem support. We're gonna buy it so it levels up as we go. But for now, let's keep using Freezing Pulse.
Take care.
There's one thing I didn't mention yet. I'm very fond of totem-based playstyles. A totem is basically a piece of wood. Well, this one looks like a relic, but still. It has its own mechanics of attacking enemies, basically attacks everyone in certain range. Totems have different attributes. There are many different totems. Some of them are used to heal you. Some of them are used as a decoy, so they are attacked instead of you when the enemies attack, or me in this case. Some lend you a hand while you are fighting in melee. Some of them use range attacks. And in the case how we're gonna use it, it's gonna cast spells instead of us. Here we have a bronze monogram introducing the Lord's Labyrinth feature. It's a set of trials which enable access to a labyrinth which holds great riches and great power, guarded by great monsters.
In the court of the goddess, every man and woman is deemed worthy of redemption. Though you might be shackled by the tribulations of the past, the trials ahead offer you both freedom and glory. The future is yours if you're bold enough to reach out for it.
Many years ago, when one of the ruling emperors did not have an heir to replace him, he decided to create the labyrinth in order to find somebody wealthy. The labyrinth has many traps and other defense mechanisms, apart from being flooded by monsters, which are supposed to separate idiots from wealthy people. And in order to participate in the labyrinth's goal, so achieving great power, you have to complete some trials. I already completed the trials for the first labyrinth. We're gonna go through it later while we reach the required place. Of course, using totems, apart from having some advantages, also has disadvantages, right? Totems are not so proficient in handling whatever they do as a normal exile would do it. But if mastered, they can work way more efficiently as a skilled totem user can summon more than one of them. Well, we finally got ourselves an amulet. And we got a flat health regeneration from it. We're in the upper prison. We're getting closer to the place where the warden is supposed to be. Some monsters are more resilient here against our attacks. While fighting with the undead, taking care of the necromancers is important because they can raise the dead indefinitely, and the raised undead don't give any additional experience, so there's no point in letting them raise the skeletons. It's just an annoyance if they do. We already have the exit marked on the map, but I wanna do some exploring first. Opponent started cursing us, so certain monsters are able to apply a debuff. There are various curses, making us not capable of fighting in different ways. From lowering our damage to lowering our resistances and other defenses to well, basically making us not dangerous at all. We've got a Jeweler's Orb, a very handy orb to have. Very, very important for crafting. It may increase the number of slots that a particular item has. All items have a set maximum number of slots that they can have. If it's an armor or a two-handed weapon, then you have usually 6 slots. If it's gloves, helmet, shoes, then it's 4 slots. If it's a weapon and it's a one-handed weapon, then it's usually 3. Of course, at earlier levels, the item level is too low to be able to drop items with more slots and with more links, but It improves with time. Yeah, from time to time, it's handy to give them an additional whack with a totem. This is Holy Flame Totem. Previously just a Flame Totem. I'm not gonna be using it a lot. It's not gonna be my main source of damage, but it might be a distraction for the enemies. It deals damage. It can tank a bit for me. It heals. And it turns off curses that are applied. So if I'm cursed and I walk into consecrated ground around this holy totem, I'm not cursed anymore. And I heal myself.
Your answer's here, heretic.
Wah.
In Rayclast. But I don't think you'll like it very much.
And that's Piety. And she's on the run now. Within the upper prison, you see the scenery changed a lot. There are no monsters here, so we are being prepared for a boss fight.
Still the Karui barbarians advance upon us. Lina is dead, his legion slaughtered along with every eternal man, woman and child from Lina's watch to the foot of our axiom. Should the need arise, we shall retreat through Prison's Gate, raising my barricade behind us. Yet our salvation is at hand. Foul times demand heroic deeds, and through my arts our Lord Brutus will arise anew to defend us. May the dry sands quench their thirst with Karui blood when our mighty warden delivers his judgment upon them.
So, we have a person named Chevron. She knows magic, and in order to ensure that the Karui are not able to pass the prison, she decides to perform a ritual on Brutus.
My loyal Declan, give Our Lady Piety your absolute support and watch her with absolute scrutiny. There is much to learn from the likes of the
The
Inquisitor
clan is Brutus.
and the Soulless One. I would hate for Piety to feel that she need shoulder such perilous wisdom alone. Dominus.
Or maybe it's just one of the guards who was here. Okay, don't mind me commenting on Brutus with the clan card. Okay, you see that outline here? Yeah, it's a boss fight, alright. We need all the help we can get. Let's go! Whew. Quite a big boy, isn't he? Lord Incinerator Brutus. He has spikes and other shit. If he hits, it's gonna hurt. hell of an abomination he is now. But we took care of him.
Tormented soul.
Okay, we took all the yellow items.
Dear Chevron, you have certainly had your work cut out for you with Lion Eye's Legion. Do not concern yourself with Marseilles' complaints. Our Emperor is fully aware of the General's fickle nature. As to your need to accelerate the implantation process, I can recommend a quite simple alteration. Dip the gem in a boiling solution of 6 parts blood and 1 part thormetic sulfite for no more than 13 seconds. Any longer, and you invite the crystal's wrath. Once the gem is withdrawn from the solution, you have but a few seconds to install the gem in the prepared flesh and close the wound. Should the gem cool too much prior to implantation, it will become inert, and your patient with it. Trust in that bountiful talent of yours, Chevron. My thoughts are with you. Malachi.
So, Chevron was like an apprentice to someone called Malachi, and it seems the experiment didn't work out as it should.
Hello, Exile. Marseilles commanded the southernmost of the Eternal Legions, here at Lion Eye's watch. Why was he called Lion Eye? A crazy fool had his left eye taken out and a golden-hued gem put in its place. That must have made quite a pretty adornment for King Golem's belt.
The Eternal Empire had a specific thingy for gems.
For some, death is welcomed with open arms. Did you end Brutus's suffering out of avarice or mercy? Only you know the answer to that one. I can think of only one reason why Piety would be here. She's interested in the sickness that pervades this place, the corruption that raises the dead and twists the wildlife into aberrations. Goodbye.
The warden's free of his own prison. Well, since you're so bloody determined to cheat the britches off death, you'd better have one of these, for luck. And when they write the song about you, just be sure to mention that it was Tarkley who taught you everything you know.
Wise guy, isn't he, huh? Taught you everything you know. We're gonna pick Clarity. It's an aura support skill. It, it reserves a fixed number of mana to increase our regeneration rate.
Hello.
So, dexterity and fire resistance, strength and fire resistance. 72 armor, 30 armor and some evasion. We're gonna switch. Okay.
Be well.
we're at the prisoner's gate. So basically the prison is on the outskirts of the entrance to the Central Empire, I will call it. That's why it was so important not to let the Karui go past the prison. But, as you saw, the experiment went bad, and the defenses of the prison didn't work as they should. We're now gonna follow the road, try to catch up with piety.
The path to the truth is never a straight one.
So, they used a magical seal, which was probably designed to barricade the center from the invaders. And we need to find a different way to fort. Although the maps are generated and randomized, if you played the game for some time, you see that the maps are constructed in a particular way. Which enables easy exploration. The Burning Menace. With the healing provided by the totem, we were able to stand in the fire. Precisely what we need. It's a good item to start our adventure with the summoning totem. Still at this point, the damage might be a bit too low to use it without any issues. course, I need to go there, but I'm in an exploring mood. You never know when you find something nice. Hull damage 10. So it's a bit not enough to satisfy our needs. But let's make an experiment. Now we deal 120. But if we switched and used freezing pulse with the spell totem, it would be only 78. 78 isn't really much in comparison to what we had, but let's see how it works. I put a totem on the ground and it uses the skill. It has its own casting speed, so it's not really fast at first. But it's gonna improve with time. Here is where we need to go. Okay, demonstration over. Let's get back to the previous setup. Even if it's dealing less damage,
This is a mortuary for lost children.
sometimes it can be more efficient, because in terms of spending mana, we spend it only when we cast the totem. The totem lasts for a couple of seconds, or until it's destroyed. So, if you're like into hit and run, it's just good to put it on the ground, run as fast as you can, and then return and do it again and again, and etc.
Calm stands before us and looks out to the raging sea. He sings, calls, screams to our ancestors to come to our aid. He offers them gifts of old, a feast of heart and mind, muscle and marrow, cooked in the fire and rock of this angry land. We have not practiced these ways in so many years. Only in the darkest of times, most desperate of times, do we perform these oldest of rituals. Only here and now may we sacrifice and consume our own. Only in our king can we trust this return to our ancient selves.
So, they decided to return to cannibalism in order to resolve the issue. Those things don't usually work, don't they?
Frankly, I would have been surprised if you hadn't recognized me. Yes, 'tis I, Captain Sigmund Fairgraves, wave tamer, pirate bane, and conveyor of civilization to barbaric lands. So, what am I doing here?
apart from blowing my own bugle? I'm marooned, languishing, thanks to a pair of pretty blue eyes. Stuck fast in the filthy mud of Rayclast, thanks to one sultry little slave girl. I liberated her from the flesh pits of Trathus, and she repaid me in full with sleight of hand and swift feet. Turned the coat of my first mate, took my hard-earned all-flame, and with it the wind out of me sails. Find my all-flame, I beg of you. Until I feel its warmth again, I'm trapped here, high and dry, until the sun's final setting.
Sounds like a very dangerous item.
My loveliest neighbor in this most salubrious of neighborhoods. Facing Mervale and finding my all-flame are two mutually exclusive endeavors. I'd much prefer you to live to see your errand fulfilled. Although it is possible that my wayward slave girl fell prey to one of Mervale's slithering progeny. If that be the case, you look resourceful enough to handle a tentacled wench or two. But if Mervale herself has my flame, be very wary. That necklace of hers provides the old siren with some subtle wiles indeed.
So we are introduced to a new VIP, Mervale.
If the history books are to be believed, Doreso the Daring presented the necklace to Mervale on bended knee. And from the moment he placed that little chunk of Rayclast at her throat, Mervale began to sing. It's told her sweet voice grew to fill even the largest concert halls of Oriath, and brought warmth to even the coldest of hearts. But then she began to change. Her mind and body twisted, as did her songs. Well, the sweetness remained, while the sanity fled. Knowing what little I do about the powers that lie dormant here in Rayclast, I'd surmise that if you have Mervale's necklace, you have the siren's voice. I hunted the vagaries of a near-forgotten myth to a shattered cathedral in the Inner Empire. I took the all-flame and encased it within a lantern of pure silver, the only element it seemed incapable of consuming. Oh, the all-flame does many a marvelous thing in the hands of one who knows how to harness its power. Oh, banish any thoughts of using it for yourself. It would burn you alive.
You notice that the way he's speaking changes when he's mentioning the all-flame? We would probably get some insight on Mervale from the people in Lionel's Watch. We're gonna do it a bit later. So let's take the shrine. The blessing of the shrine
I am no beast of burden.
works in such a way that until it's being picked up by us. It works on the monsters surrounding. So one has to be careful before picking it up. Shit. Usually the easiest way and the safest to explore a location is to use one of the sides as your guide. It's similar to exploring a labyrinth. You will always reach the end if you stick to going near one of the sides. Of course, some things like optional missions and objects can be found in the middle. But until you need to actually check the middle, you will do yourself a favor by clearing all what's around. The Cavern of Wrath is there. So we need to go back in order to find the Flame or Mr. Fairgraves. Not this one. Yeah, after you go around, filling the blank spots on your map is not dangerous. And we've got some lore here.
Calm is gone. Our king has taken our finest 500 warriors and descended into the depths of Rayclast. He spoke to us of a vision, a gift from the ancestors. Calm has been deceived. The vision was a gift from the Black Spirit. It has conquered Calm. The Black Spirit has conquered the Karui way. Hyri has made ready her canoes. We will take those that are left, 500 forgotten families, and carry them back to their true homes. Back to Ngā Makanui. Calm's promises have led us into nightmare. Hyri will lead us back to the dawn.
So, the Karui came to Rayclast. They won their battle, and while trying to settle here, They were corrupted. They were tormented by the undead. And finally, their leader, Kaum, was deceived, slain by the before mentioned Black Spirit, and the Karui returned home, led by Kaum's sister. So we've got one finish.
Your trust is the only reward I need, my Lord of Light.
The night is long and full of terrors. Do we have a crossover episode here? You can see some corridors nowhere, but at least with each corridor we have more experience. And more experience usually means more firepower. But for now, we're focusing a bit on survival. So the last couple of points were spent on increasing our life.
I am no beast of burden.
We're gonna need to visit Lionel's Watch soon. We're close to our destination. Here is the slave girl. And indeed, we have some Merveil related monsters here. Distilled from naked ambition and unfettered obsession, the All-Flame emanates a silver warmth like no other, and engulfs those moths full enough to embrace. Let's get rid of the padded vest, and let's go to Fairgraves. He was up here.
My Allflame, my blessed damned Allflame. Oh, you want your moment in the firelight now, do you? Unfortunately, necessity is what it is, and for the Allflame to give life, it must first be kindled with life. And since suitable kindling is in short supply around these parts, I have little option but to make do with what I have. Namely, you.
So, treason, hey? Ooh. So, his crew is dead. And so is Mr. Fairgraves.
Temptation
Bam!
may turn even the noblest of men. I should take heed.
Greetings.
Sell, sell, sell. Sell, sell, sell. Sell, sell, sell. You don't need that much mana. Might even try to switch. Yep. Right.
Fairgraves was a good man, a fine explorer. He opened the door to many a new world, for better or for worse, usually for worse when it came to the natives. There's some peace in the knowledge that he now rests where he should. Let's not speak of Fairgraves again, shall we? He was an inspiration to many. 'Twould be a shame to spoil a good hero.
So we have another victim of corruption.
Piety's raised Chevron's barricade. Not that I was likely to ever make the trip inland, but it was nice to have the dream. Hang on a moment. Got a stray thought seeking safe harbour. Piety's one to watch her own back, so she'd never cut off an escape route from possible trouble inland. The cunning witch must be able to lower that barricade from the other side, somehow.
So we need to somehow get to the other side.
Greetings.
Probably through the caves that we are going to explore.
Why would Piety go and cut us off from the interior? Thankfully, I don't have it in me to know what that witch thinks. But I reckon you'll work it out. Once you've lowered Chevron's barricade for us, of course. Stay sharp out there.
Mervale dwells in the caves beyond the wrecks, at the head of Siren's Cove. Leave her be, and we can only hope that she continues to return the favor.
So, she sounds dangerous. We've got another passive skill point. And on strength.
Yes?
How can we support our attacks? What do we have here? See, we have a couple of totems here. Maybe we'll try to use our totem with some additional lightning damage, huh? Why not? But it would require us to have 3 blue slots in order to keep our arcane search working. We have an additional dialogue unlocked with Nessa.
If you must take your chances with the siren, then have this. It may be of some help. But please, know that you don't have to do this. Tarkley and I are getting used to having you around.
So she seems to be quite dangerous. Well, I don't find any of them useful. I might as well take anything and sell it.
While we live, we are blessed.
Welcome, husband. We knew in our hearts that you would find us. Come to Rezo. Ambrosia and Amarissa must meet their father. Come, my love. Return to your family.
Yeah, a letter made on a sailor's skin. How cool is that, huh? If there is a sword, he was probably killed. Yeah, we focused for a couple of levels on survivability, and now some of the monsters are no longer being one-shotted by us. The totem did its job. It took pressure from us. We've got a treasure chest. Suspicious. Amarissa, daughter of Mayrvale. And she's gone. Oh. I think we made the lady a bit mad. Well, at least she has one more daughter. Well, we have something better here, but we're not intelligent enough. Ideally, we don't want to have our important gems, like our attack in our weapon, since to some extent we scale our damage with our weapon. So every time we change it, it requires some switching. It's better to have it, for example, in your armor. Mainly because you can have more slots in your armor, and the more slots you have linked with an attack skill, well, the better the outcome. It's more expensive in terms of mana, but also more dangerous if you connect the dots properly. And by that I mean if you use the skills correctly. If you connect bonuses that add up to each other, and forgot the word. Oh well, you get the idea. And we leveled up. The more level ups
I am no beast of burden.
before a boss fight, the better. Oh god, how I wish they made a sorting button. Still not enough, okay. Okay, now she's also using mind games. Now we've got almost 250 on our button. They're trying to outnumber us. Merveil is appearing more frequently while we are moving this way. Let's that end. Okay, here she is again. Stop screaming! Oh yeah, I feel what kind of sharing you wanna do. You wanna share the pain. And I'm not gonna participate in that. Let's see if we can squeeze another level up from this place before fighting with her. Okay, this is like also easy there. We're not gonna level up, guys. Got another treasure chest here. I assume that her second daughter is gonna try to make an ambush. Yep. We've got Ambrosia here. Now we probably got her really pissed. And we're halfway to a level up. More funny treasures. So it seems this is the place. Let's go. Merveil's lair.
This is love's true face!
This is love's true face.
Fear tastes so sweet!
Shit. Merveil the Siren. And now we have her true form. Merveil the Twisted. And she
A
is
woman corrupted beyond
no more.
humanity. I must cure this plague before it sickens all of God's creation.
Doresso gave me the gem, kissed me, promised that he would be by my side forever. I sang for him. I sang for Oriath with his gem at my throat. Khaleesi's gem. Khaleesi's voice. I sang in her echo, performing arias that had once made the Empire weep. I listened to Khaleesi's lullabies in my dreams. I gave myself to her music, mind and body. Doresso left me for San with a promise to free me from Khaleesi. I begged him not to go, tried to show him the wonder of my transformation, the beautiful daughters he would soon meet. He couldn't see. None of them could see. I fled from their hatred. When Doresso returns, I will cast his cure away. I will teach him what true love is.
So, Doresso was an arena fighter. He found his lady, Merveil. He gave her a gift, which cursed her. And now, Merveil is no more. Defeating her marks the end of the first act. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this a bit different approach to going through hack and slashing. If you're interested in the story, in the second act, stay tuned for the next episode. See you later, alligators. Bye, 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 bye.
This forest, so twisted. I pray that I'm not too late to turn the tide of this corruption.